member of the National Resistance Movement, but with a huge allegiance to the MK movement. Let me start with Honorable. Good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Good morning, Mr. Wanyaji and my fellow panelists this morning. To all Ugandans, to all Mbara City people and the surroundings, I greet you all and I pray that you're well. For those who are sick, I wish you quick recovery. Congratulations to all those who are getting married. I know Saturday, Connaught starts.
I want to call upon the people of the Middle East, especially Palestine and Israel, to exercise restraint and put the public interest of their people first. Thank you.
Right.
Then,
Well,
of course, as the football calendar starts off, I want to wish my fellow fans of the Arsenal, of the mighty Arsenal, to have hope that this is our time, this is our season, and we should win the title at the expense of Man United and Man City.
All right, welcome to the Big Set. Let me welcome our guest, Michael Katureve. Good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wanyaji. I'm Kature Michael. Most people know me as Omunyeto. I don't know. I think that remains that way, council. Yes, I'm so delighted being here. And allow me congratulate my people of Uganda, those that have really received good news, the weddings and other events, and they have really gone successfully. It's always a big thing to our society. Once you achieve something good, it's important that you are congratulated. And we also mourn with the people that have really lost their loved ones, especially my people of Untungam or those that of Rentweda. Really, we are, and I'm with you in spirit, and I'll be reaching you soon.
Right.
It's always my commitment to pay visits to such families. And fellow and panelists, I'm so humbled joining you. You know, in Runyankole, there is that proverb that a rabbit cannot move with a lion. Impliedly, when you find yourself in the middle of the lions, you qualify to be one. And so it's important.
The lioness.
Depending on the perspective you're receiving.
Yes.
Yes. Otherwise, thank you very much, Cruise FM,
All right.
for inviting me.
All
I'm
right.
so much humbled.
Asimo Banjisi, good morning and welcome to the Big
It's also
Set.
said that if you want to be the best, you must beat the best.
All
Sure,
right.
sure.
Asimo Banjisi, good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Good morning, my brother Banyaji. Good morning, my woman member of parliament, Honorable Rita, my fellow panelists, and our dear listeners. Banyaji, it's a sad story when you keenly follow what's happening on the international scene. The creation of Israel as a state.
Tell us what's happening in Parliament because to what we follow, we are not very happy. I remember when I sent you the message inviting you to this particular show, I was very direct on what we think is very disappointing of members of Parliament. We now know through the memo that the Deputy Speaker of Parliament wrote to members on even having to remind these honorables of how they should wear in Parliament. They are busy hiding in corridors because of the different demands. They are not showing up in committee sessions. We had the speaker the other day saying, I am going to sanction those that miss committees. The plenary, we still see the numbers are not as good. Before we know it, it's name calling, one MP, raising matters against the other. The 11th Parliament, haven't we dropped the bar so low, Honorable?
Okay, thank you very, very much and for raising these questions. But also to say, as the saying goes in Ankole, to which we still want to demystify. Sometimes it's very difficult to take on collective responsibility of behaviors when you know very well that human beings are not homogeneous. Even if they are women, they are not. Even if they are men, they are brought up differently, and they choose to behave probably depending on from where they come from. But I also would want to agree to some extent that as members of parliament, we carry a reflection of Uganda. Because Rita, the way I carry myself, if somebody wants to make a quick assessment of how Mbarara City may look like or behave, they will look at me. So I would also want to say that members of parliament are not from heaven, they are from among us. So therefore, sometimes we are a quick sample. If you know research and you want to sample Uganda, and you come to the 529 members of parliament, you will actually do a very acceptable, scientifically acceptable research, and your findings can be applied across depending on the characteristics or the items you are looking for. But that notwithstanding, I would want to say that politics is viewed differently. And for me as an individual, I think some of the behaviors are totally uncalled for, and I add my voice equally to the speaker to condemn them. And you would want to watch closely. Not all of us tend to support, all actually behave in that way. But as the saying goes, mugongo, and as a leader, we also have got to take responsibility in all those perspectives. But to be honorable, the parliamentary system which we follow, the Commonwealth parliamentary system, is even much very kind to even go ahead and give us an opportunity to write down, to be able to have an opportunity to read, revise, and the speaker reminds us every day of how we should behave. We have rules of procedure. And every parliament, you find when they are done, but you are given an opportunity to amend to what could be different. Like they were amending to accommodate COVID guidelines and all sorts of things. But there are basics that include shouting, which in parliament is regarded as heckling. There are basics about insults, really. There are basics of listening skills. But there are also a basic requirement for leaders to have patience, to be inclusive and listen to divergent views, even when you don't agree. But it is also, I must bring it down to a family level. Why do we even have violence in homes? Why do we even have violence against children? Why do we even have violence against men and women? It is basically because of the level of intolerance that is gradually growing. Every person thinks if I'm on this show, I should override everybody and be the one to be listened to. But that is not a good culture. The good culture should be built around tolerance to even accept those who do not agree with. And I want to commend the NRM. I think that is what President Museveni brought best. That even those he doesn't agree with, he can sit with them, he can hear them. And that's what our constitution emphasizes. So, together. Because the parliament of Uganda, the way it is made, it is even clear that we shall have an opposing side, we shall have the government side. But can you employ a bit of civility? So, it all started, this is not the first time the opposition has walked out. I have seen it before. I was a member of parliament, and they continue to do it. And for me, this time I was really unhappy with them because the speaker went out of his way to give an extra mile and provide a platform for them so that we could talk and resolve things amicably. But they actually rewarded him by saying, even when you are attempting to reconcile and put us into space of the chamber, we are not willing.
But you see, a matter that we also, those that followed through, is a situation where now the speaker allows evidence from the outside to be submitted on the floor of the house. A lady who is the woman member of parliament, Juliet Nyamatama, presented a video that was allowed on the floor of parliament for every member to be able to view because she could not make the utterances that were in the video. When the opposition came with another video that would perhaps exhibit the human rights violations that they were complaining about the whole time, the speaker literally the system failed them.
You know, the Speaker's ruling is final.
Exactly.
Even in the rules of procedure, the Speaker's ruling is...
But don't you think, Honorable Rita, that's where the problems
Let me start from there.
Let me allow her. I'm going to give you an opportunity. No, I'm going to give you an opportunity.
The Speaker's ruling is final. So if you want to challenge it, they are laid down ways to challenge it. Or if you want to call for the revision of the rules of procedure, probably that could be a lasting solution. But for you to say, I will walk out, I will walk in, I will walk out, I will walk in, it is not a solution at all.
Perhaps now
So
the
if you want to
cries of-
put me here to debate the Speaker's ruling, which I have the rules of procedure here in soft copy, which is even stated the Speaker's ruling, it's like saying that the fountain of honor, even if now you want to sue President Museveni, will
There are
the courts of
limitations.
will courts of law listen to
Absolutely
it?
not.
So that is what you are calling me to debate, that the Speaker's ruling is final.
But now that really answers the cries of people that have advocated for an independent individual.
We all participated. Honorable Mpuga, the leader of opposition, is a senior member of parliament. When we are working on those rules, we are working on them to favor all of us, regardless of the side you sit. And those are the senior members we bank on. By the way, the opposition has very strong senior members.
Yes.
And they're the ones who are inducting us. Mpuga, talk about Cecilia Gwara, talk about Segona, talk about Nambo. Those are the people. In the induction, there was no discrimination.
He has to be consistent, and I think it's not a good sign of an independent and impartial speaker.
You know, Mr. Wanyeji, for me, one
Yes.
thing in life I never want to pretend is that I'm a jack of all trades. I don't want to appear here as a lawyer. I come back, I appear as a doctor, expert, specialist. I come back, I appear as an IT specialist. No. Even in the courts of law, one will have murdered the person, another one will have murdered the person, but they will get two different sentences. Isn't it? One will get life imprisonment,
And the principle
another one
is-
will get 30 years of imprisonment, another one. So I do not want to go into the nitty-gritties to say that the speaker made an error when actually there was a basis why he chose not to subject Chinyamatama's mobilization to have people banged
Yes,
to parliament.
that
It's
one
equally
there.
wrong. But at that
Exactly.
time, probably the speaker, that not was the most important thing he was trying to do.
What
So
was
it's like putting me in a court that now I rise against the speaker, should have done this and this and that. But the speaker is given an opportunity to use his judgment and make a ruling. When you
Judiciary.
feel it does not favor you, you have redress.
But he has to do it
You see,
judiciously.
you
And
you
on the
understand?
element, yes.
and
Yes,
also
so-
and
It is
let's-
very
and you
true
see-
that
Yes.
Chinyamatama's behavior
Conduct.
equally was not parliamentary.
Thank you.
And
see,
it
you
is
see-
also very true that Zake's behavior was not parliamentary. And two
see-
wrongs cannot even make a right.
But we should be now be
Mr.
able
Moderator,
to see
Mr. Moderator,
when, yes, Council.
when he suspended 5 opposition members and he failed to suspend Honorable Juliet, that is the epitome of bias. Actually, he should even have resigned.
No, you know why I think it is not bias. You know, when you are dealing with a case that Chinyamatama rose on a case on the floor of parliament, but what has resulted to the subsequent consequences are becoming grave and grave. So those who are following, you will equally. When a child commits a mistake and you warn everybody, those who come after usually are punished. I think in his mind he thought Chinyamatama, okay, this is her first time to act. How many times has Zaki floated?
Oh,
No,
oh,
no,
okay.
no, no, no.
Thank
A yellow
you,
card is a
Honorable.
You
yellow card and the
understand.
red card is a
Thank-
red
thank you
card.
now.
So probably
Yes.
me sitting, if I want to sit in the shoes of the speaker, he might sit and say, oh, Chinyamatama is doing this for the first time on the floor of parliament. And probably takes, by though sometimes outside where I don't see the camera, I want to believe that the speaker called Chinyamatama in his
And brought
office.
her-
Why
brought her
did
to
he
court.
call Zaki?
You know,
Okay.
Why
you
didn't
were
he call
action-
Zaki?
Zaki, how do you call Zaki?
Why?
Who is serially
No, 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 no.
from day 1, 2, 3, 4?
She's a serial
behaves
victim of
in
the state.
same way.
Okay,
It's a
thank you,
serious
thank you,
case.
Honorable.
You
Let me
understand?
allow this gentleman,
Okay. Yes,
perhaps
yes.
in
Yeah. You see,
in
you see,
conjunction
in,
with Article 80,
yes.
on how a member of parliament
must behave.
Must behave.
I think that should have been our starting point.
Yes.
See, the code of conduct or the decorum of an MP is provided under Appendix F of the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure of the new edition of 2021. And the first one is selflessness. You have to put the public interest above the individual interest. You must be honest. You must be a person of integrity. You must be accountable. Whatever she is talking about here is nothing of the 4 or 5. So we have to.
You mentioned the element of Zake being a victim of the state.
Yes.
But if at all his conduct is perennial, then what should Parliament do for him?
No. You see, he was suspended, and the Speaker has the right to suspend him under Rule 89 of the rules. But if he suspends other members and he does not suspend other members because they belong to the mighty government, then that is bias.
Don't you think now it's important that perhaps the law is revised on the element of recalling a member of parliament?
No.
If a person
No.
does it in sequence and his conduct is definitely in violation
You see,
of any human standing, then why not recall Francis Zake? Because he now doesn't deserve to be a honorable member of parliament.
No. What has he done wrong? You see, a member of parliament, especially what a woman member of parliament.
If my colleague sees nothing
You
wrong
see,
that
no,
Zake
no, no,
has done,
no.
I
You
have
see.
no comment.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yes.
I
You
don't
see,
have a comment.
I accept and I am in line with the decision of the Constitutional Court in Zake versus the AG that he used unparliamentary language. And using unparliamentary language, of course, is prohibited under the rules. But let us all know that a woman member of parliament, just because she is a woman, is not above the law. She can also be abused and insulted. And if she's aggrieved, she should go to the courts of law. But
Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
About 17 minutes to the top of the hour on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. My name is Wesi Gabanyaji. The Big Seat is on your radio, and we went for a break where it was all flaring up because there has to be something. When it's a motive on politics, you expect some of that. With me in studio is Honorable Rita Kwasa Bwahika, who is the woman member of parliament in Mbarara City. Mr. Michael Katurebe, who is a lawyer, but he hails from Muntungama municipality. and Councilor Wenje Deus did it, who is a lawyer, and Mr. Simo Bandizi, MK Project. Yes, Michael.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banyaji. You know, the issues we are discussing today have not just begun today. And it's always important that when the issue comes up, we always look back and see the genesis of it. The issue of parliamentary language, I think, began way back in the 9th Parliament. We saw the same issues in the 10th Parliament. So here, the issue that is here, we need to trace back. Remember, I think we need to first of all know what are the circumstances that we are having this member of parliament, and are they there because they're meant to be there? That's number one.
But it's
I think no. I think this one I'm leaving it for the listeners. Do you think your member of parliament is in parliament because was the right person to be in parliament?
Okay.
Secondly, parliament currently, all members of parliament want to showcase to their electorate that yes, we are doing a good work in parliament. But because of the media, because of this other circumstances on ground, members of parliament are willing to use any measures to show the public that they are indeed making a contribution in parliament. That's why you are seeing all kinds of fights are coming up. Now, when such issues come up, we need to really look deep. Because to me, I believe that parliament is a reflection of the society. And our dear listeners, this is the time to evaluate and see the society we are in. Because if the honorables, I don't know, as per the definition of a honorable, not everybody can be called a honorable. That's why they are few.
Yes, in the 45 million Ugandans.
Compared to the population,
yes.
they are few compared to the population. Now, if the few honorables, I'm putting it in quotes, are acting that way, what of the population they represent? Now, Uganda's parliament, as in people outside Uganda are thinking like Uganda is a comedy country. It must be a show somewhere whereby when you want to really enjoy and laugh a bit, you have to tune to Uganda. That's the level at which we are at. Now, it's very unfortunate. You know, when we are speaking about this issue, we shouldn't smear it. It's unfortunate. It's regrettable that our August House, the house that is entitled to make laws for the country, is acting in the manner we are seeing today. You know, now, as we, the public, have different expectations from the members of parliament. But if at all the members of parliament are conducting themselves in such a way in that it's okay for a member of parliament to abuse another and he walks free, then it means the seeds we are sowing in the public.
But away from even the abuse,
Yes.
if it is formal deliberation
Yes.
on the floor of the House, are they doing a good job? If it is an opinion in an amendment,
Yes.
in any public policy,
Yes.
are they doing a good job?
Mr. Banyaji,
The former Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, may his soul rest well, he died with a heavy burden of the quality of members of parliament and the quality of debates and on what is on the Hansard because of what some members of parliament utter on the floor.
Yes.
So it is even away from the informal, disrespect to even what they are supposed to do. Are they doing us a good job?
1 minute.
Yes.
That is why you see, I was telling my colleague and also a lawyer that for our leader to go in public, not even just your colleague, and vulgarize communication in society is not right. And for me, Honorable Zake there doesn't.
What the
Speak to the microphone.
said that that the MPs are so vulgar, but he's
No.
but
I
her
said Zake.
yeah,
Zake.
Don't
some.
twist my
Yes,
words.
okay.
But you see, and
Please.
he talks about the society of Uganda. But her president is the most vulgar person in Uganda. He speaks actually things which no other person can sell. The honors, the
Okay,
pigs and so
okay,
forth.
okay.
So
Th- th-
she should learn from her president. And maybe Zaki is not wrong because he's also learning from someone.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Asima Vandizi. Yesterday we were together and it was about the quality of members of parliament, honestly. It is because they're a true picture of what Ugandans are. But for you to attain the title honorable, you ought to act better. We saw in the corridors of parliament 2 members of parliament that, wanted to fight physically. We've had members of parliament shout at the speaker. We've had all these issues happening on the
Actually,
floor.
I think it was on Thursday.
Yes.
The Right Honorable entered parliament, never even bowed. She just wanted to eat alive the leader of the opposition.
Okay. Yeah. Banjizi.
Thank you so much once again, Banyaji, and my fellow panelists that have already submitted. I'm a big fan of giving credit where it's due, and I always encourage objective criticism. I must give Honorable Rita and her colleagues in the 11th Parliament credit for the numerous good bills that they have already passed. Among them, the anti-homosexuality bill, the narcotics, consumer protection, the list goes on and on. We appreciate all the good work that you're doing. But nevertheless, we also must see where things are not okay or where we believe you can do better. Because the parliament, the legislature, is the third arm of government on top of executive, judiciary. And you're supposed to be role models to literally all the 54 plus million Ugandans. And I'm not a fan of making bracket statements, but the way you said in Runyankore, omwishomo kwatwara mugongo aje musabona. Truth be told, what Zake might have done is not right, and we should not condone it. But the victim herself, the way she has conducted herself, is also not worthy of an MP. And when you join politics, whether you want it or not, there are some things that you must be ready for. Because even if you go like to America, we've seen these things during the days of Donald Trump, the aftermath of the election of Joe Biden, what happened in America. And to me, the way the Baganda say, ebyomunju tebitotorwa. As leaders, these things shouldn't have been brought to plenary. It should have been handled amicably behind the scenes. The funds we have right now in the whole country, and me Banyaji, I'm very bitter because I'm a taxpayer. We Ugandans, we spend over 2.4 billion Ugandan shillings every day to sustain and maintain our parliament. Really, we deserve better. We need better. We must get value for our money. So, I still go back to the basics. The way I told you yesterday, people are no longer voting substance in leaders, values, morals, integrity, ideals. They are voting identity, sijui, money, waraji, rukumi, this and that. And that's where we are as a country. My brother, you're an incoming MP in the making. Being a good leader has nothing to do with being a lawyer or having that background. Let me substantiate what I'm saying.
Let him. I'll give you an
Making it
opportunity.
mandatory for them to do a certificate
After being elected.
it will not change a thing. You see, upbringing is the decisive factor here. Akati vakinika kachir kabisi, akati vakinika kachir kato.
So, bottom line, you should be educating the electorates to elect leaders, not actors, not scarecrows. Vote leaders with substance.
That message goes to the electorate.
Yeah, to the voters.
Yes.
When you look at Zake, he's the second. I beg to be protected.
Yes, please.
Zake and Chinyamatama, the two of them are second term, are in parliament for their second term. And they know the rules of procedure. They know the provisions of Rule 83. Decorum, keeping silence when you're... They know these things, but someone's character, you will not change it overnight simply because he or she has now become an MP. Finally, Banyaji...
Yeah, in a second.
Me, I would still say this. Every time there is a personal issue between the MPs, they should not waste our taxpayers' money to bring it to plenary. They go to courts of law for redress.
Okay, let's stop for a break. We'll link up in the second hour. In there, you'll be able to call in and we get to hear from you. Don't touch your radio. My name is Wesley Govanyaji.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real. Politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends. Urban Weekends.
Politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friend.
We are right into the second half of the show. 2 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. The Big Set. My name is Wesiga Banyaji. If at all you're just joining in, we want to appreciate you so much. But in a special way, I want to thank every other person that is catching the show outside our jurisdiction here of the West. People in Kampala, in Teve, all these places in Glue, we hear calls from Lira, in Kitgum, all these places, we want to appreciate you so much. Now, the people in the West in a very special way. November is knocking on the door. What happens is that if at all you're a business owner, we give you an opportunity to spike up your business. What you do is come to radio, and then we shall be able to give you 50% discount. We play some of the messages that you want your market to hear, but also give you an opportunity to give, if at all you sell TVs, radios, microphones, phones, everything, we get to give back to our listeners. We're celebrating 12 years of being the best in the region. We're coming in your area, the people of Ryantonde, Ntungamo, Mbara here, and all these places, you know how we do, Ibanda, all these places we shall come. So we'll be able to meet the best presenters, your favorite presenters. You get to dine and celebrate 12 years of Western Uganda's biggest radio. With me in studio is Honorable Atkwasa Rita Bwahika, who is the Member of Parliament from Mbara City. And we want to thank you, Honorable, for sparing time to come and talk to the people of Mbara City. But also, I have Mr. Katurebe Michael, who intends to go in Parliament, but his opinion is every leader in Parliament must be acquainted with the law so that they know what they're talking about. Council Wenje Dos did it, is here, and Mr. Simwe Vanjezi, MK Project well represented. Now to the lifeline of the show, the feedback we get to hear from you. Paul Tumsime, let's listen to our feedback. Paul Tumsime on Facebook is saying women, especially women members of Parliament, should grow up and be strong. Just abusers should not harm them. Museveni is abused every day and is still strong. Abuse is not an issue at the level of Parliament. And I concur with this gentleman. Leadership is about building thick skin.
We don't want young people to get into quota in it.
All right.
Yeah.
And then Robert Babiha, you're in Abu Dhabi, you're listening to the show. Josephat, to Yahebwa, you're saying our Parliament behaves like those ancient people. Zake should be given a bigger punishment beyond shaming. You're in Mitoma. Gilberto Silva from Kampala, you're saying thank you to the show. Derek Tarema, you're here in Ontario Road. You're saying, in my opinion, I think they're losing focus on national importance because all what the opposition asked was a recorded video of the evidence, which the presiding officer didn't show again the same day. We expected a report from the Minister of Security and the Minister of Internal Affairs, but the diversion was on the Chinyamatama issue. The leader of opposition is still insists that all people that are missing. We thank you. Ambrose Tudyamureba is saying they thinks that's Twitter. Abasa Christopher is saying to bring it on board, some members of Parliament should be directed to go for courses in Changwazi Leadership Institute to learn the modes and conduct of a leader. It's not a surprise seeing opposition do this immoral conduct. And you're listening live from Kamkuzi. Greetings to Honorable Rita. Isaac, you're saying you're here. Wakanda Rogers, you're saying as a country we have too much important issues to be discussed about by Parliament. Instead, MPs are fighting each other on the floor. What a shame to our Parliament and our country at large. Agaba Jonan, you're saying thanks to my village mate, Honorable Rita.